Hey, what's going on guys, Tech here. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about dealing with mashes in Tekken. So this is something that we all experience when we go into ranked battle. For example, it seems like everyone's just constantly pressing buttons and disrespecting your plus frames, and it can be really hard to condition these people to stop pressing. So that's what I'm going to go over in today's video. I'm going to be showing some specific situations where people like to press a lot, and I'm going to show you how to deal with that. So before I talk about those specific situations, I just want to talk about the concept of frame trapping for those of you guys who don't know, as frame trapping is a very important concept to understand, and if you're able to apply it to your gameplay, then you'll have a much easier time dealing with mashes. So essentially, a frame trap is where you're in an advantageous state and you press a button that will always beat out the opponent's button. So we're going to demonstrate this with Sentai 3 here. So as you can see, this move is +1 on block and it leaves the opponent at -1. So what that -1 means is that whatever button the opponent press, it will always come out 1 frame slower than it usually does. But since we're +1, our button will be completely fine, it won't be affected. But their button will come out slower as they're recovering from blocking our attack. So we can showcase this here. I'm going to get Jun to jab after my Sentai 3. I'm going to do 4-4-2 into Sentai 3. It's a common flowchart, and yeah, so Sentai 3 is +1 and Jun is gonna jab after it. I'm gonna use my own jabs. Our jabs are the same speed, the I-10, so normally they would trade, but since I'm +1 in this case, my jab should beat her jab. So let's try it here. So as you can see, 1-1-2 will always work here, and this is really good for Reina as well, because Reina's jab string 1-1 is really good as you can hit confirm it into the last hit. So that's why in particular this situation is pretty nice for Reina, as although it's only +1, you don't really have any other options you can do. It's still pretty strong, as 1-1-2 is a strong string that goes into Sentai and you get a lot of plus frames. But yeah, since you're only +1, you can't do slower attacks. Like 1+2 for example is I-12, and like we mentioned, Jun's jab, since she's -1, comes out 1 frame slower. So even though I'm at advantage here, her jab will beat me always. So let's try again. See, her jab will win since it's an 11 frame attack and it's still faster than our 1+2. So our options here, they're a lot more limited, and a situation where we do have a lot more plus frames is Sentai 4, which is this attack here. As you can see, we are +4, so that means we can do attacks from I-10 to I-14 and they will all beat jabs. Well, aside from I-14 attacks which will trade with jabs, so you'll have a nice it will be a good trade for us. So I'm just going to show some examples of what you can frame trap with in this situation, and you can apply this to other moves that are plus as well. Like for example, while running 4+4 without stance, you can apply it to that. While running 3, you have a bit more frames, +6, so you can apply these buttons to that situation as well. So after Sentai 4, you have 1+2, which is a pretty good option. So I'm just gonna get Jun, set that to 1 hit. So Jun will press after Sentai 4, as you can see. So she's gonna jab. Oh, keep messing it up. So I'm gonna do 1+2 here, and as you can see, it wins. But the thing is, 1+2 is -10 on block, so it's not really advisable to throw it out. It's a bit risky, so we tend to go for other options to frame trap with instead. Down forward 1, since our down forward 1 starts up at 13 frames, we can frame trap with it, and down forward 1 has extensions that you can do, like down forward 1-1, which is what I like to go with, as if you land it there, see it's +7, so decent plus frames. It's -4 on block, and a lot of people tend to not duck the second hit as they're scared about this extension, down forward 1-2. So this extension is very strong. You're going to heat, but the thing is, it is -14 on block, so you're taking a big risk right there. But if you're certain that the opponent's gonna press like after this move, then it's good to throw out, but you gotta be a bit careful about it. So that's an option right there. And then a couple more underrated options that I don't really see people use to frame trap is Magic 4 here. So 13 frames, so pretty fast, and as you can see, we get a counter hit knockdown and we get a guaranteed CD3, so I believe that's around 42 damage. So it's a pretty damaging option right there that we can use to frame trap. And another option that we have is up forward 1. It's another underrated button that we don't really see, and it's pretty good here because I think it tracks a bit to the right, and as you can see, on counter hit we get a guaranteed Heaven's Wrath 2, and we go into heat with a nice amount of damage. You can also do Heaven's Wrath 1-4 here, for, you know, a bit more damage. But if you want to go into heat, then you have Heaven's Wrath 2. So those are some good options to frame trap with there. So now that we've talked about frame traps, I just want to talk about some situations where people tend to rest a lot. So the first situation is forward 4 on block. As you can see, it's +2 on block. So it is plus, but it's not very plus, so that's why people you know, feel comfortable in pressing, and it does beat a lot of your common follow-ups that, you know, you tend to go for, like a mid-check down forward 1. As you can see here, her duck jab just beats out down forward 1 outright. And the thing about down forward 1 is that it goes under highs, so it also beats our jab, so that's quite annoying. So if you really want to frame trap here, you have to do a 1+2, which is kind of annoying as it trades there. So it sends Jun flying, which can be good sometimes, like especially at the wall. It's a good situation, so it's worth to use at the wall. But keep in mind that 1+2 is -10, so it's quite risky, and you know, sometimes you just want to keep up the pressure instead of just sending them flying across the stage. So we can, instead of frame trapping with 1+2, what we can actually do is just use movement instead. We can sidewalk. Sidewalking is a really good option, and I think people don't really realize they can use it as an option, as they see plus frames and they think, oh, plus frames, I gotta use my frames, but they actually don't use things like movement, which is really important, as you can actually be multiple options, multiple retaliation buttons just by using movement. So that's, for example, dick jab here, duck jab. You can sidewalk and you can launch it with a hop kick, or you can do down forward 1-2. So you can punish that. And also another common way that people like retaliate after forward 4 is while standing 4. You see a lot of people just throw out while standing 4, and that also gets beat by sidewalk. So I'm beating multiple options just by using movement. So that's why using movement is like a really good way to deal with mashes in this situation and get a really good punish. So another situation is after heat engage. I've talked about this in a past video, but down to 1+2 also beats with mashes. So I'm just going to show that again. If you want to know about down to 1+2 in more detail, then check out the video in the description where I talk about down to 1+2. But basically, this beats out any type of mash aside from certain parries. Some characters can parry this move, but most characters can't because this move down 2 is an elbow. But as you can see, Nina is doing a power crush there, and she can't even power crush it. So basically, it beats any attack, and the opponent has to respect it. So if you're fighting people who are mashing, even after heat engages, then there you go, just down to 1+2 them. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about down to 1+2 on block. So this move, once the opponent blocks it, it's actually +7 on block. So it's really plus, and you automatically go into uncircular stance. So we can actually frame trap with a really nice option, a counter hit launcher, which is uncircular 3. So I'm going to showcase that right now. So we got Nina blocking. I'm going to go into heat. I'm going to do down to 1+2, and then I'm going to press 3 for uncircular 3. And Nina's going to try to jab. And as you can see, she jabs. She's doing like a really fast move, but she gets counter hit launched. So this is a really strong option. But the thing that you have to be aware about is, like, some players know that this move is you know, a counter hit launcher and they can't press, so what they do is sidestep instead, as this move is very linear. You can easily sidestep it, so that's the risk. But you do have other options to beat sidesteps, such as uncircular 4, which tracks. So that's kind of the mind game right there. Okay, so now I want to talk about hellsweep on hit. So you'll tend to see players do power crush. I think see power crush beats a lot of options from Heaven's Wrath. So the main option people go for is Heaven's Wrath 2, as it gives a heat engager. It's really strong, but it also beats a lot of other moves like Heaven's Wrath 3+4, Heaven's Wrath 3-4. So the problem is people are using slower attacks here, so that's why they get power crushed. But what you can actually do here is just use Heaven's Wrath 1. So this will counter hit that, and you can also heat engage that. But the really good thing about Heaven's Wrath 1 is the fact that it also beats rage arts, which is something I think a lot of Reina players actually don't know, and sometimes they get a bit scared of pressing, you know, when the opponent has rage and they do a hell sweep or like another move with Heaven's Wrath, like 4-4-4 or Wilding 4, I mean. So that move also goes into Heaven's Wrath. But the thing is, you can press Heaven's Wrath 1 and not worry about rage arts. So I'll show that right now. Okay, so I'm gonna do Heaven's Wrath 1, and as you can see, you can actually see the start frame. If you look closely, you can see her signing up the rage art, but it doesn't even come out. We can just press Heaven's Wrath 1, and it will always beat out rage art. So you can beat out those who just mash out rage arts. Like those rage art spammers, you can beat them out. So it works there. You see that she gets hit. So that's a way to deal with people who just rage out after, you know, entering Heaven's Wrath after hellsweep and while running for. So the last situation I want to talk about is just heat dashes. So with Mishimas, you can actually buffer electrics during a heat dash, which is insane, as it makes your electric come out at 11 frames fast, which is completely crazy. So basically, your electric will beat out any button they press. The only thing about Reina's electric in particular is that the opponent can sidestep it. If you guys didn't know, they can't actually step the other electrics like Kazuya's electric and Devulgent's electric is completely homing, but you can't step Reina's, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's still a really good frame trap for those guys who are just pressing. But I'm gonna do a heat dash, and I'm gonna buff the electric during that animation. I messed up there, but it should beat out her jab. As you can see, beats out the jab. Now we can also do power crush. So now Nina's gonna do a power crush after the heat dash. And it beats out the power crush, so they can't power crush. So as you can see, it's extremely strong for those who mash, but just be careful about those who are, you know, stepping, as you know, like I said, Reina's electric can be sidestepped. So that's it for this video, guys. If you have any questions, then please let me know down in the comment section below, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.